up, people? This your boy P. Ross back in the building. And today, I got the homie CMS in the building of the Purple Underground. You know what I'm saying? Why don't you go ahead and state your name for the people, man?
Yo, for those who don't know, my name is Micah, a.k.a. CMS. And yes, I am part of the Purple Underground, and we are the new breed. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so what's going on, bro? How you feeling tonight?
Man, I'm feeling blessed. Just feeling blessed, my brother. How about yourself?
You know what, man? You just sound like a rapper, you know what I'm saying, giving an interview. Nah, I'm good, though. I'm good, bro. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? There was an article printed. I think it was on Pop Matters website about the rivalry between Prince and Rick James.
Yeah. I got a chance to read a little bit of that.
Okay. So why don't you tell me your feelings about that, bruh?
Well, you know what? That's one of those stories that's always been it's kind of been talked about, you know, amongst the Prince community. You know, like they always, as far as like Prince's contemporaries, you know, Michael Jackson, you know, being one of them. But you know, I think sometimes we fail to forget about the rivalry between him and Rick James. And you know what though? Even though, I mean, that's a separate video with Michael and Prince, which, you know, I definitely, you know, can't wait to do that one. But Prince and Rick James was kind of more, I think, more equals, just because Rick was
a musician.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you know, yeah, man, I mean, I really hope that a show just kind of leaks out from that tour when Prince opened up for Rick.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Because I think the only document we got of Prince on the Rick James tour was Atlanta '80, was it?
Yes.
Yeah. And although that's a good show, it's soundboard now, but we need just a little bit more. You know, I mean, I don't know. I think you're absolutely right. I mean, like, for years, Prince and Michael have been like the hot thing, like Prince versus Michael, Michael versus Prince. But it seemed like people never really to put him in the category where he belongs. You know what I'm saying? Although, me personally, I think Prince was a better artist than Michael. Michael was still great, but they were on two different levels.
Right.
You know what I mean? Prince should have been in the category with people like Stevie Wonder, Rick James, you know what I'm saying? Even Zeppelin, groups like that. You know what I mean? Due to the fact of musicianship. You know what I mean? So, being that we're talking about Rick James himself was great.
Right.
You know, we've heard all the stories. You know, I even remember seeing a video on YouTube, and Rick, I think Rick might have been on Video Soul.
Mm-hmm.
And like Donnie Simpson may have asked about like Prince, and Rick was like, "Oh yeah, that's my boy, little short guy." You know what I'm saying? And we all know about like the Dave Chappelle outtakes. You know, where Rick James kind of dissed him, and you know what I'm saying, said what he said. But then you got, I remember reading a newspaper article back in 1996. It might have been in the USA Today when Prince did "Bet You by Golly Wow." Now, I thought that was a great remake. Rick James said he ruined the song. Rick James also went as far as to say things about Prince, like about the incest thing on Dirty Mind, and talking about stuff like that. He's a weirdo. He taking it too far, this and that, that and this. But Rick, you know, he was up there as far as being risque like Prince.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I mean, to me, that's like the pot calling the kettle black.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When they both, you know what I'm saying, were like on the edge, on the line, and way ahead of their time, really, for the things that they were talking about. You know what I mean?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So, as far as the rivalry go, do I think Rick was a better guitar player? No. I think Rick could play, but I don't think he was a better guitar player. Do I think Prince borrowed from Rick James? Hell yeah. Hell yeah, I think he borrowed from Rick James. I think when they was on tour together, he looked at Rick's shows. You know, he borrowed from him. Yeah, for sure. Most definitely. Most definitely. There was also a story Tina Marie had told, like, about Prince, and he was just cool. He was real quiet. You know what I'm saying? And I think it was something, huh?
No, I was gonna say, yeah, I did hear her and I'm sorry, him and Tina Marie got along just fine. You know, when I don't know if she opened up for him or if he opened up for her. I can't remember, but you know, I do remember reading. I guess it was in her book that they got along great.
Right.
You know, I mean, compared to him and Rick.
Right. Yeah, for sure. I mean, and to me, it always just seemed like this hostility that Rick had towards Prince, because Prince actually got over more than he did by doing some of the same stuff he did.
Right.
And taking it further, crossing that line, you know. So that's kind of the way I feel about it. Although I love Rick, but, you know, I really think that hostility was there, you know.
Yeah, I think just off watching the Chappelle outtakes and stuff I've like either seen on just different like interviews and over the years by Rick, I could tell he was definitely jealous of Prince. I think he respected Prince as a musician. I think he definitely looked at him as a talent. I mean, that's a given. But you know what? Maybe he also was very competitive too, because they say Prince is very competitive.
True.
Getting back to what you said about when they was on tour and Prince borrowed from Rick. I remember they said in Rick James's his memoirs that he kind of felt like in the beginning of the tour that there's a couple shows Prince came out wearing like a jacket and it ended up in like some bikini briefs and the guys were booing them. He said, you know, he kind of felt bad for him, but then later on in the tour, he remembers seeing Prince standing off on the side of the stage watching, and then next thing you know, he's stealing his, like, Rick's swag and moves, you know, and things like that. So, do I think Prince borrowed from Rick? Yeah, I mean, it's possible. I mean, you know, I can see him doing that, but I think a lot of great artists take something from other great artists and kind of try to make it to their own. But I'm gonna tell you something else I had found out. The group, I think the name of the group is called the Bar-Keys or the Bar-Kays.
The Bar-Kays.
Okay, yeah, the Bar-Kays. Well, they had it unsung on TV One, and they said that before Rick James was Rick James, he used to he took I guess borrowed some stuff from their lead singer.
Right.
And I kind of seen like some footage, and the lead singer, he almost looked like Rick James. But yeah, the Bar-Kays said that Rick James borrowed some stuff from their lead singer, and
definitely,
you know, things like that. So, like you said before, that's like calling the pot on the kettle black.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. You on?
Yeah, but they also said that supposedly Prince stole Vanity from Rick James, because I guess Rick used to date Vanity. I don't know how true that is, but
Yeah, I had heard that too, but I also did the research. Like the Mary Jane girls,
Mm-hmm.
they were touring with Rick before they even had an album, and Prince had actually made Vanity Six's album first, and it dropped before the Mary Jane girls even dropped the album. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
back to uh, Rick James and him respecting Prince and his music, he did go on record and say in 2004, when Prince was doing the Musicology tour, he did say in so many words that he respect what Prince saying and real music by real musicians. You know what I'm saying? He did agree with that concept and where Prince was going with it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, all in all, I mean, Prince had, Vanity Six. Rick had the Mary Jane girls. Which one was the better group, bruh? In your opinion?
What, between who? The Mary Jane girls and Vanity Six?
Yeah.
I never heard the Mary Jane girls album yet. I'll just say, far as like who looked the best, I gotta go with Vanity Six.
Well, I think Vanity Six definitely looked better, and they definitely had the better music. So,
okay,
that's just my opinion, though. But
right.
all in all, Rick James was great. Like, you can't take
definitely,
nothing away from
definitely.
Rick. You know what I'm saying? One of my favorite records and albums by Rick is Cold Blooded.
Right.
So Cold Blooded is probably one of the funkiest songs ever.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
So, can't take nothing away from him.
Yeah, I haven't listened to all of Rick's work yet. I've only listened to like 2 of his albums. His first one, Come and Get It, which was a pretty good album, and Street Songs, which I think that's a class. But also, I was going to say this too. I read this, that when they was on tour, that it was something like, like they had a meeting about how Prince and was kind of stealing Rick's moves and things like that. So they had like a little birthday party for Rick. It was his birthday, and it was I don't know if it was a hotel or somewhere. So Prince came, and he was kind of sitting at a table, and Rick, his band and Prince's band. So Rick went up to Prince, went up from behind him and pulled his hair and poured cognac down his throat.
Yeah, I remember reading that. Yeah,
And then he said he just started laughing and said he used to just like messing with Prince, doing little stuff like that. So, I mean, I can see Rick doing that because he was definitely wild. I mean, he was like the epitome of like a rock star, like a black rock star, like
right.
flamboyant.
Well, if it's any consolation, look at what he did to Charlie Murphy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, I could definitely see him pulling Prince's hair back, pouring cognac down his throat. I can't see myself wasting no cognac like that. Not me, bro. That's
right.
just like me grabbing your head, pouring cognac down your throat. I wouldn't do it. Costs too much.
Right.
No.
Right.
No.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, I read somewhere, like, in an interview, Andre Simone said, like, he remembers touring with Rick and them, and I think he did say, like, they were pretty cool, and he said it was, like, one time he kind of had to let Rick know, like, almost like check Rick, like, yo, hey, man, we cool, man, but I don't play that, like, like, almost like he had to get, like, almost hood with him.
Right.
Because
he got hood with Rick.
Right. Well, I mean, with Rick, he was like Charlie Murphy said, he was mad niggerish.
Right.
So,
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, Rick James was definitely legendary. God bless the dead.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
So people out there watching this video, what do y'all think about, the Prince of Rick James rivalry? It's all good either way. You know what I'm saying? So this is the Purple Underground. I'm P. Ross.
And I'm Micah, a.k.a. CM to the S.
And we are the Purple Underground.
ground.
And we out. Peace.
Yes. Peace.